Hello, everyone. I do apologize for not showing my face during this, but maybe next time. um, I want to thank the entire crew for the Saw series. I've made a contribution to the 20-year anniversary of the Saw franchise and how much it's mean to me. I have worked really hard on this. I have worked over a year on this project, and I wanted this project to be released around between the 23rd and the 31st of October 2024. It did not quite happen that way, and I did not finish until early November, but the project shall still be released, and in all of its spirits and everything I've done for it. I have had a very intimate connection with this franchise, a very strong connection, ever since I was about 10 years old, or 11, something somewhere along the lines of that. Um, I was there. I've seen almost every Saw movie in theaters except for the second one. Um, the second one is kind of where I started at the first one. The second one is kind of was where I really started to get more into the franchise, and it was on DVD, or at that time it was on DVD, I believe. So yes, thank you. I want to just thank everybody who was a part of it, and I want to give names. Um, Before I give the names, I do want to say thank you guys for watching this commentary. What I'm going to say in these commentaries of, from Saw 1 all the way through Saw X, it was a lot. It was a lot of research I've done. It was a lot of watching. I have watched 1 through 7 about 15 times. I've watched these things through. Um, I've tried to notice as much as I can, and there's just been a lot that went into this project and these movies. I really want to thank everyone who who's listening to this. Originally, I was going to release one a day, one movie a day, but it did not happen that way. One movie a day up until Halloween is what I meant. I had a 31-day Halloween thing, and these 10 movies was going to be 10 days leading up to Halloween. But it is what it is. But I really did enjoy this project. Thank you again so much for you guys who are taking the time to listen to this. A lot of dedication went into this. This is one of my favorite franchises, and I really do hate to say goodbye to this project. This has been, like I said, over a year. This was in the last few weeks. I've watched almost each of these movies about 4, maybe 5 times a piece, back to back, day by day, up early in the morning, 9, 10 in the morning, all the way up until 4 o'clock in the morning. Working a long hours on this. I hope you guys enjoy this, and this is my contribution as a fan to the 20-year anniversary. Again, I guess the last thing that I could really say is thank you. Um, I will be talking a lot about what this means to me, especially in the first one. But yeah, and Saw X was actually recorded a year prior to the rest of these recordings. So, you know, um, there may be a difference in quality within Saw X. But yeah, anyway, thank you for this, for supporting me, those who have the patience to do so. And yeah. Jigsaw. I have to say that the Jigsaw Saw 8 may be a little rough, but I kind of fell asleep during that one. Thank you, Oren Colas. Thank you, Mark Berg. Thank you. Rest in peace, Greg Hoffman. Thank you, James Wan, the director. Thank you, Jason Constantine, Stacy Testro, Peter Block. I also want to give a thank you to David Armstrong, the photo director of photography, and the bartender. I do want to say thank you to Lee Winnell, the writer. He was the writer for the first three movies. Um, Off the top of my head, I do not remember the writers for majority of the other films, but I do want to give a shout out, and I do appreciate all of them. I do appreciate the availability of watching Saw 4, the unreleased version with Eric Matthews and what was originally to be but never did. Um, Thank you, Tobin Bell, Johnny Smith, Costas, Costas. Thank you, and thank you for all of your contributions. I also want to thank. I think I said yeah. I think I said Oren Colas. Yes. Thank you, Tim Palin. Um, thank you, Francois. Um, yeah, legends never die. And if it's not, if it's Halloween, then it must be Saw. So yeah, thank you everybody, and hopefully I got everyone's name. But thank you for the crew. Thank you, Karen Grodert. Thank you, Darren Bousman, Spearig Brothers, and thank you, David Hackle, the directors. You all did a wonderful job, and thank you. And I'm dragging out this intro way too long because, I don't want to say goodbye, but I know I have to. Thank you for an amazing franchise, and thank you for filling my life with so much joy and giving me so much material that really helps fill my life with so much joy. You know, unlike the Terminator, only had two movies. Thank you for an entire epic franchise that really helped keep me going through a majority of my young life. Thank you again, and please do enjoy these commentaries. Before I forget, and thank you, Charlie Clouser, my favorite music composer of all time, and congratulations on outdoing John Williams in the franchise of Star Wars, and congratulations for your award for composing the most sequels in a franchise consecutively. You are the only composer to do that. And congratulations on winning that reward and for the world record. Once you're the first, no one can take away. If you're the first to do something, no one can ever take that away from you. So yeah, legendary. All right, enjoy the movies. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for my first and last audio commentary for the Saw movies for the 20-year anniversary. Lionsgate Films. I've actually recorded and my commentary for all the other 9 movies, so I'm actually doing this one last, which was never the intent, but here we are. Twisted Pictures. I believe this was named after the idea of Seven. So, a Mark Berg, Oren Colas, and um, Greg Hoffman production. A film by James Wan. I love the water. So I thought about how I can add some interesting references and things to like future movies and how, this really ties into the lore, but I kind of felt like it didn't sit right with this commentary, so I just kind of started it over. So this is me starting it over. So there's the light. This was an amazing movie. This movie has done a lot of amazing things, and I guess I just want to talk about that for a while. By the way, thank you for joining me, Movies with Love. And I found out that this version that I'm watching is the theatrical version. I have 3 versions, 3 different copies of this movie, and they're all theatrical. None of them are unrated, so the extra little 5 minutes is just lost in time. Maybe one day I'll redo it, but for a 20-year anniversary, I guess theatrical version is okay. I did go to the movie theaters and I saw this in the theater, and yeah, it was nice. It was nice watching it with people around. So Adam. So Adam is in the dark right now. He's feeling around. I remember the very first time. Um, this has actually become like archive footage. The camera going back and the lights coming on. I've seen that same shot multiple Saw movies. Oh yeah, right. I should probably turn the volume up so I can hear. I don't even know where the remote is for the volume. There's our boy, Lawrence Gordon. This really was an amazing movie. Um, this movie really shows that the impossible can happen. And there's the body in the middle. The cool camera shots, the trick shot. I wish I knew what kind of revolver that was. Where is my remote? There it is. This movie really did help make the impossible happen. This thing has won so many awards. It's given so many people opportunities, like Lee Winnell and James Wan. And I've heard the story so many times. I've had to watch all the Saw movies at least 3 times just for this project. So I probably watched this series minus Jigsaw, Spiral, and X. Everything before that, before Jigsaw, I've probably seen all of them 15 times. All right, anyway, but yeah, I've read the stories so much, and I guess I can repeat them here, but I'm just a little nervous because of how intense the fan base is. I just don't want to upset them, but I guess I should just do my thing, just repeat it anyway. I guess there's really nothing, so anyway, if anyone is joining me for this, this is like the first test of what I'm doing. Right, this is my last recording, so like I'm used to I've done this so many times. So I'm watching the movie, and as I'm watching the movie, I'm actually commentarying as I'm watching it. So here's our boy Adam, and of course Adam is the writer of this movie. Um, him and the director James Wan came from Australia, and they were trying to make this movie in Australia, and didn't quite work out. And I believe it was Stacy Testero. I believe it was Stacy. Her name was Stacy Testero. She said, "You guys should take this to the Americas. This is what they do, man. They drug you. Your kidneys are on eBay." That was very. Yeah, that was just hilarious. This first movie was very funny. The first one, I think the sixth one and the ninth one were like the funniest. They actually had some comedy in them. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, Adam right there. The dude with the wet hair. He's the writer. So him and James Wan, the director of this movie, were in Australia. They were told, hey, maybe you should go to the Americas to do something. Lee Winnell and James Wan went to film school together, and everyone had their projects and everything. But Lee Winnell and James Wan really enjoyed, um, as to what Lee Winnell said, the Evil Dead movie. The horror movies is what they really attached to. So when they tried to, make some projects, nothing really happened. Nothing was really concrete. Nothing was solid. So they were told go to the Americas and check it out. So they came to America. They came, to California, to Hollywood and California, and they were like, "Hey, here's a movie." And the studio was basically like, "No." So they're like, "Okay, well, here's a short, Saw 0.5," and it was like a little short movie where Adam was actually Amanda's character, and it was like a little pitch that he did. Adam was being um, interrogated by a police officer, um, or detective. In that short, Adam's name was David, I believe it was David, and that became the name for Detective Tapp, I believe. I believe his name was David Tapp, or was it David Singh? I don't know. One of the detectives was named after that. um, so yeah, they came here. They came to America and proposed the movie, and they showed the short. And some of the producers: Jason Constantine, Peter Block, Oren Coles, Greg Hoffman, Mark Burke. They were like, "Oh, cool. Let's do it. Let's do the movie." They're like, "Let's make a movie." They're like, "Okay." So they're like, "Okay, so who's gonna direct?" And that James Wan was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Basically. And then they were like, "Adam, you want to be an actor?" So he became the actor and got his role here, tried out his acting career. I think he did all right. I think he did all right. I know there's jokes that oh, he's an all right actor. He's a bad actor, terrible, but I think he's all right. I like him. Um, yeah. So they came to America, and then they were like, "Yeah, you can, yeah, you can film the movie. We'll give you your budget. Your budget will be $1 million. You have 18 days to film it. There you go. Good luck. So hurry up and make it happen." So they started to film it, and they had 18 days to do it. And James Wan was trying to do all these camera angles and these, we should do this. And the producers, Marco and everybody, they're like, "No, like you got your shot. Now it's time to move on to the next one." And James Wan was a little upset that he couldn't really do too much of what he wanted to do for the movie, um, because they were so restricted on time and so restricted on the budget. They couldn't even like waste too much film, honestly. From what I understand, some of the audition shots in this movie were actually used for the movie. Like some of these actors came in to just do auditions for the roles of the characters, and they were just like, "Okay, that's good enough. That's what we're keeping. That's what's going in the movie." Everyone was like, "Oh, okay." So this movie really was like an underdog kind of movie, and it bred a lot. It bred a big fan base. It bred Lee Winnell and James Wan starting their careers. With Lee Winnell, doing Dead Silence and Invisible Man, the Invisible Man, and Wolfman that's coming out 2025. James Wan, which he's went to so many things from Insidious, which this actor right here, Adam, he was also in Insidious, and he played as one of the ghost dudes. He actually had a lanyard that had the four card symbols, and that was the same lanyard that I had in high school, and I was known for that lanyard. And I thought that was interesting how they had that same lanyard in the movie. And after I saw the movie, it like snapped, mine broke, and um, I've never been able to find it since. But anyway, um, so the two of them still keep in touch, still do things together. But yeah, James Wan, he went to direct *Malignant*, I believe, or is it *Maleficent*? *Malignant*. *Fast and Furious 7*, *Aquaman*, *The Lost Kingdom*, *Conjuring*, *Insidious*, and whatever the third one was. No, I don't think he did *The Nun*, but I believe he did *Insidious* and *The Conjuring*. I believe he did *The Conjuring*. But yeah, James Wan did some amazing things, and this is what started their career. This franchise helped a lot of people start their careers. Um, yeah, I know I'm not really saying too much commentaries about the movie as I'm watching it, but I guess it's still education, educational. They're listening to the recorders now, but oh, I wish I remember how Lawrence Gordon got started and saw. He recently did the interview, the Q&A, and they answered it. But yeah, I can't remember what. Well, I can't remember it. Wonder how he got that bloody mark on his face. Hmm. But anyway, so of course, uh, the actor here who played Lawrence Gordon, the doctor, there was some lawsuit that went on with his pay, so that's why he didn't really show up until like that's why he didn't show up in the sequels because he was there was some issue going on there. In case this obviously this is gonna be most likely a spoiler, but but yeah, this movie was never actually meant to go past the first one. It was um it was solely just supposed to be a one-off. Hold on, let me see. Detect. What is he actually trying to listen for? I think he said. I think he said, "Open your heart or find your heart" or something like that. So the idea of this is was that the game was that Lawrence had to kill Adam. So right here, Adam putting his hand in the sludge. A bit of a mystery as to what that liquid actually was in that toilet. I think the cast members just like pooped in it and thought it would be funny. That's what I personally think. No solids. Yeah, when you are a writer, you can say stuff like that, do things like that. This role, the dialogue was very natural for Lee Winnell. This was like made for him. It really was. Wish I was checked in there first. Yeah, I remember me. When I wrote a few lines, a few scripts, and I reread it with some of my buddies as I was editing. I had them reread the dialogue, and as the dialogue was being read, I would play some characters, and I would go off the script multiple times. I guess because with me being the creator for it, the writer, I really can get more into the head of who I was acting for, and a lot of scenes were changed and altered. Some words were switched around. Some words were extended. Um, some little humor was implanted there. So when you are the writer, um, playing as the actor, there are certain little quirks that you have. So you really see that with Adam's character in this movie with Lee Winnell. Here's Adam. So when Adam throws the saw and actually breaks the glass, apparently that actually wasn't original. That happened kind of later on. That was like a shot that was added later on into the movie, and the glass falling to like kind of keep things going. This movie, when it was written, did not pass the runtime, so they had to add certain scenes and add these flashes of cameras and stuff for the sake of trying to extend the runtime to meet that quota. So, yeah, but they did it. Here's the famous line: "Doesn't want us to cut through our change. He wants us to cut through our feet." That's an iconic line written by That's an iconic line. That could be a tagline. I remember being in the theater a couple of weeks ago watching this movie for the 20-year anniversary, and I was like amazed at the script. Actually, watching the movie, I was like, "Wow, this is a really good movie." Like, legitimately, I remember this movie got some mixed reviews and stuff like that, but this movie actually was great, and it was full of mystery, and it was amazing. This man right here who is stuck in the razor wire, there's Carrie. This man that's stuck in the razor wire, he was actually, from what I understand, he was actually the first person who the role was supposed to go to him for Jigsaw. Um, so for John, so this was the original actor who applied for it, but our boy Tobin got the role, and yeah, so it's funny when they actually had the body on the ground. They were gonna make a mold, but the actor was like, "No, I'll lay down." So I think they did 12 days of shooting in this room, and I believe the other 6 days went to the other shots. And during those 12 days, that actor laid down on the ground up until that last moment. You know. And here's our boy Paul. I believe that's his name, Paul, the guy in the razor wire. He was actually in a couple of Saws. He was in the fifth one, I know. But yeah, the actor can't. Oh, and the fourth one, he was in the fourth movie. Um, when it showed the backstory, he was in the hospital, and he left the hospital. There was another character who was bald in the very beginning, and a lot of people think that was the guy in the hospital. But this actor who played Paul shaved his head coincidentally and filmed that shot. So apparently, it was actually this actor, not that was in the hospital, not the other bald guy from the fourth Saw movie. Yeah, you have these nice pictures, and these pictures and photography here is it's like a character in itself. Why don't I remember this? Sorry, Detective Singh is crawling in the box, and yeah, here's I love Carrie. Yeah, this woman here. It probably was like my fifth time watching this Saw through that I knew that I recognized Carrie. I was like, wait a minute, she's in the second one. Wait a minute, she's in the third one. I know she was in the first one. But this poor man right here, Mark, he didn't really, have a chance. Having the wax on him, and he had to, find the combination and everything. Apparently, the trap aspect of this movie with the candle wax and the glass and the razor wire, it was meant to really give some kind of a story to who the killer was in this movie and to really give an idea to what he does. But apparently, it wasn't actually. I keep saying apparently. Sorry. I guess it wasn't actually like a main focus. It was just kind of there to kind of fill out, filler out, um, the whole story and everything. The who the killer is and what he does, and of course, as you can tell later on, it ends up becoming the main signature of Traps and everything of the whole move of the whole franchise called Traps. And there's the intern. There's the Asian lady, Dr. Gordon, and here's Zep, Mr. Hindle. Apparently Zep was actually had an inferiority complex and felt like he didn't matter, felt like he wasn't important. So him feeling that way, it was apparently the reason why he got tested, from what I read. So I was like, why did Zep get tested? What was his test for? It was the fact that he felt inferior. And now here we go. Johnny Glover, Danny Glover, and his partner Singh. Um, Now they're here to talk to Dr. Gordon, and I think in that previous scene they kept interrupting Dr. Gordon because they didn't know what kind of cancer. They didn't want to get into specifics, but they wanted to kind of fake it. But yeah, so in this room that they're actually sitting in, the whole film was actually filmed in one location. From what I guess it was an abandoned police station, I believe. So they just kind of went in there And yeah, they went in there and redid some stuff. Put some furniture in there, made it look like it was a hospital, make it look like it was a different room and everything. So yeah, right here they're in the hospital, and now here they're in the police precinct, which is basically like it was like the same building, basically same building. Um, I love the lighting. I love this lighting. Wish I remember this actor. Uh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about. Oh, it's visiting someone who wasn't a patient. Yeah, I believe this was 2003, and from what I remember, it might still be, but remember it was a time when having an affair with your spouse was actually illegal, and you could actually get sued for it. So much is going on in today's time. I don't know if that's the real thing. So, with Lawrence Gordon talking to this man and saying, "I was seeing someone who wasn't my wife," that really like exposes a lot, but also, maybe a legal issue. Oh, I was saying that these two detectives are questioning Dr. Gordon because they found his pen light at the crime scene. They explained that in Saw 5, that it was just a plot hole, and basically, and so they had to explain, you know. But who knows the real reason, the original reason why it was put there? But in Saw 5, they explained that it was to throw the cops off, which I think was the original reason. Just a little tweaked in Saw 5. So now Detective Tapp Danny Glover, who previously was a cop in Lethal Weapon 1 through 4, and upcoming 5 apparently. I heard it was confirmed earlier this year. Now here's Shawnee Smith, who plays Amanda. She got the script for this movie, and her agent was like, "Yo, you should do this movie." And she read the scene. She read it, and she was like, "No." She was like, "I can't fully commit to this right now because she was going through a lot in her life. She was going through a hard time, and she was going through a divorce, and she didn't have it emotionally in her to do the scene or to properly invest into this movie." So she said no. Um, this TV says Channel 3 because Channel 3 was like the transparent frequency that really. So she said, she's going through a divorce and she just can't do it. Just no. So her agent, I believe it was her agent, was like, "Hey, let me show you this short." She showed him the short that Adam was in, Lee Winnell was in, and it was the jaw trap, and he was in the jaw trap, and he had to stab the dude and get the key out to unlock the reverse bear trap. And when she saw that short, she was like, "Oh heck yeah!" She was like, "Okay, that looks fun. I want to go do that." And when she came in to do this scene, she was actually sick. So she was, so she was actually physically sick and ill. Also, she was chosen or asked to do this role because the director James Wan actually had a crush on her. She was his celebrity crush, and he liked what she did and some stuff. And he was like, uh, he was like, "Go get me Shawnee Smith," and they actually got her. They actually got a hold of her and got her to be in the movie. So he was like, "Whoa, really?" He was able to direct her. She did that scene with the bear trap on her head. I believe that was her first scene, and then her second scene was after they had lunch and they came back from lunch and it was her interrogation. And then after that, she left and didn't come back. This dude laying on the floor right now, I believe his name was Donnie. And from what I understand, he was a producer. He was one of the producers of this movie. And I read somewhere that he was actually the ex-husband of John's wife. So right here, when you see Amanda's hands shaking with the scalpel, those weren't actually her hands. They had to do a reshoot of her hands, and she was unavailable after she came in for her one day her interrogation scene. In this scene, they had to reshoot her hands, and they couldn't do it. So the director painted his nails black, and they did a close up of his hands as he held the scalpel, and she stabbed our boy Donnie. So yeah, right here you see the hands going through the guts and holding the key up. Those were James Wan's hands, not Shawnee Smith's. And now she opens up the reverse bear trap, which is interesting. Which that bear trap is actually functional. Apparently, Lee Winnell and James Wan called someone in Australia, I believe, to help them with this design, and they did the design, and it was all like, "Here you go, boom." He was like, "Oh, it looks so real." It was like, "Yeah, it's functional." And he was like, "Whoa, we just needed a prop for the movie, but it was functional as well as most of the traps that are actually put in these movies are functional." But we don't talk about that. This puppet here, Mr. Billy, um, James Wan is controlling the puppet. He has his hand behind him and is moving the hand. I guess since we're here, because I don't think the Billy the puppet actually shows up anymore. And here's Amanda coming back and trying to talk to trying to make Lawrence Gordon feel guilty. Look at this person, look at this victim. So I want to talk about where Billy came from. So Billy was in Saw 0.5. He was also in Scary Movie 4, in the parody with Dr. Phil and Shaq being in the room. I believe he had like twins, and the other one was named like Soltor or something like that. He was also Billy Puppet was also in a movie called Dead Silence. I think that it had the same composer, Charlie Clouser, and I believe Lee Winnell was a part of that movie too, Dead Silence, about the killer puppets in 2007. Billy the Puppet was also in one of the scenes. I believe it was toward the end. You could see him leaning up against a wall, against a pillar. So you see the puppet from Saw in there. In Insidious, the puppet was in there. Insidious came out in it was after Saw stopped in 2010, and the Billy puppet was drawn on a chalkboard and it had the number 8 referencing Saw 8. But at the time, Saw 7 was said to be the final movie, so there was that. Um, I've never seen Upgrade or The Invisible Man, but Lee Winnell did say that he wanted Billy the Puppet to have a cameo in every one of his movies as like a form of like good energy or good juju, good energy to kind of keep he feels like it'd be bad luck to kind of break a cycle. So he's like, I'm gonna keep the Billy Puppet in all my movies, just in case. This is the most fun I've had without lubricant. Billy also, there was an actress in Dancing with the Stars. I am, for those of you who are like, how does he know all this? I am reading the list, because I want to make sure I had all of them. He was in Fortnitemares, and he was in Call of Duty at one point. You could play him as in Call of Duty. He was also referenced a lot in the episode of The Office. Um, um, this other show called The Hardy Show. The Cleveland Show. The puppet was used for promotion, on MySpace, YouTube, things like that. There was an internet show called The Annoying Orange, and Billy the Puppet was there. Saw, the Annoying Saw too, and the annoying trap. He was called multiple names. I'm not going to repeat them. I just don't want to get political. It's funny that one of the current people being nominated for POTUS was named in that the annoying orange episode. Anyway, he also appears on a parody of Little House on the Prairie, and in this anime Gintama, there was a parody character in episode 148 and 149. The character was called Jigsaw, so it was like a funny little thing. And I saw the clip, and yeah, cool. Um, um, Nicki Minaj used Billy Mask um, during one of the Britney Spears Femme Fatale tour in 2011. Billy also appeared in Aquaman, Hunger Force. Hobson the Rapper made a rap album called Raw, which was a joke, for Saul. Um, um, Eric Milliken. I actually don't know who Eric Milliken is, but he dressed up as our boy. Um, yeah, he also showed up in The Simpsons, Fairly Odd Parents, Homestruck, Glee, the sixth episode of Library War, and he was in a speechless episode of Speechless. So yeah, he's been around the puppet, and he also shows up in Saw 3. When they were doing the promotional commercials, he popped up a lot, which actually freaked me out. So now I can okay. So let me get back to actually the commentary of the movie. Um, Here's Allison and Diana talking. This scene was interesting. These two characters were actually supposed. Well, I don't know. Well, I suppose she was, but the wife Allison was supposed to come back in Saw 3. But the characters both said that they had no interest in returning to the franchise. So, yeah, they never did. And here is our boy, Lawrence Gordon. So I actually did an audio commentary on this movie, the first commentary I've done, and I did it like a year ago, over a year ago, and it was for Saw. I still have that recording, and I think that I maybe I'll still post that. I think I'll still post that just to show, the spirit of what Saw means. So I think I might post that. And I talked a lot about um, the ego of Lawrence Gordon and his transformation through this movie of a man having everything so tidy and clean, and then having his ego be challenged and learning how to break that ego, but also being in such a state of like of franticness, of just chaos and out of control, and just how he just lost everything, but still, despite all of that, was able to keep his kind heart. I explained all of that in the original, but that was before I had my um, that mirror that you see. Apparently, there was someone actually standing in that mirror, and there was like a digital alteration in that mirror. But yeah, I did talk a lot about that, about Lawrence Gordon's transformation. So this scene, so also in this scene, when he's checking on his young daughter, and she's like, "There's the boogeyman. There's a man in my room." The Jigsaw killer was based off this real person, apparently, who would actually break into people's houses. And I feel creepy talking about it. Like, it actually feels like something like walked in the room with me as soon as I started saying that. I feel like I'm being watched. It's weird. I probably shouldn't continue saying that, but I feel really weird since I brought that up. But it was a person who went into people's houses, real person, and he would actually tickle children's feet. And then he would leave, and he got caught. And for some reason, I feel I feel a weird presence talking about it, so I'm gonna stop there. But that's what kind of motivated um, Zepp's character, and also the kind of branched away to creating Jigsaw. This bathroom is so disgusting. Like the grossness of this bathroom really does say a lot about like the aesthetic of what this series is truly about. The gross aestheticness, you just watching it makes you feel dirty just watching this bathroom. Yeah. I mean, this bathroom carries a lot of weight to it. Like a lot of weight, a lot of emotions, a lot was like X marks the spot. This room, this movie being a very intimate story between, these two men who just like they wake up in this situation. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what to do. And they're learning about each other and they're learning about, the situation and what they need to do. And it's like they're seeing certain sides of each other. And, it's like, you know, there's so much anger there. And then there's so much, oh, I don't like you and I don't trust you. And, this is happening. And what do I know about you? Are you the killer? Like, no, are you the killer? I know that you're cheating. It's like there's so much that happens in this room between these two men, and it really does create a sense of being grounded, in like reality. You know what I mean? Like there's a strong sense of empathy that can be told or even expressed and you see in throughout this movie, and it really is an intimate story being told between Adam and whatever his name, Lawrence. And what's weird is this scene where Zepp is in the covers and he's kidnapping the girl and Allison of the wife. I've ever since I was a kid, I've always gotten bad vibes from that scene. Like I've always gotten some weird dark feeling from that scene. And as I was talking about the killer, I got that feeling too. Um, I don't know, maybe there's something paranormal going on there, but I also got that feel. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, this movie really is intimate when it comes to this whole situation and what's going on, and it really does go a lot into just the complex emotions that go into these very traumatizing situations. And this is what really made the first Saw movie so amazing, was just this emotional depth, this seeing what all these characters are just going through, and how they have to push themselves in certain ways. And this was before there was a lot of CGI, so the story is really what mattered the most. And I think that's what ultimately helped this movie, was the ghetto-ness behind it and the mystery behind it. And I am drinking sweet tea right now. That's my. Oh wait, I remember this was a cool song. Okay, let me make sure not to Yeah, I love this song. Something interesting, this song was actually recreated in Saw 9 Spiral. This was a song that reintroduced or that it reintroduced the idea of Saw being reintroduced into Spiral, or being introduced, I guess, into Spiral for the first time. But his song was called "You Okay" or "Okay You," one of them. Yeah, something interesting. There's actually another show. I don't. It's called some kind of documentary, and it actually follows like one of you know, those old killer shows. Is a cool transition. It's like those old killer shows, and it had the man standing there, and he was like, "Today we're going to investigate untold mysteries." Yes, so this show is called Unsolved Mysteries, unsolved, not untold. And there was a documentary of a guy who was on TV, and he was like, "On today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Jigsaw Killer." And this this documentary, actually was like explaining the whole case of the first Saw movie from an outside point of view, and what was revealed to the public, and how it was affected on TV, and on, how people saw it on television. And oh, there was, the 911 call from at the end of the movie was shown. um yeah, the 911 movie was, I'm sorry, the 911 call was in that documentary, as well as Paul's tape. It was like a very realistic documentary, and you can find it out there, but it was like a real thing. And it talked about how some of the victims of Jigsaw, there were some kids who did a fundraiser and sold cookies to raise money for like the victims' families and stuff like that. It was a whole big deal. It was a whole deal. But yeah, yeah, pretty cool. And then here's this guy. You need to get laid. Detective Tapp right here. Danny Glover's character was actually supposed to come back in Saw 5. He was supposed to have connections with Mark Hoffman. And Danny Glover was unavailable apparently for shooting, so they couldn't bring him back. So he was replaced by a different actor, who did the flashbacks. But Danny Glover's character was supposed to come back in Saw 5. Danny Glover's character was also supposed to be related to both Samuel Jackson and Chris Rock's character in Saw 9. They were supposed to be family members. So right here, well, I actually need to hear this part. Oh, he's listening. They're listening. What is it? What's going on? There we go. So he says, "Listen," and he's like, "Let's. I need a list of all the fire emergencies that happened within the last 2 weeks. Fire alarms and things like that." That fire alarm went off because there was a building that actually burned down in that area. I believe there were 8 people in that building who died. That fire was actually the main motivation for the story of Saw 6. That house that got burned down, or that building that got burned down, those people that were in that, I'm sorry, Saw 5, 5, sorry. Those people who were in that, who were, in that group, and they had to go through all the layers, and at the end of it, they all found out they're supposed to work together and all that. Um, that building that they set on fire, that's the fire alarm that Tap heard when he reviewed this video and ultimately, found. Um, yeah, so that was a cool little piece of lore. There's the spiral symbol in the top corner. Saw 5 really did circle a lot into the first movie. And we're in the layer. I remember that shotgun that Detective Singh is holding. I believe that shotgun was in *Malignant*, directed by James Wan. There's a lot of Saw references, and there's like three of them in here. In this scene right here, one of them was the shotgun. I remember watching *Malignant*, and I was like, wait a minute, why is yeah? And then here's the little box, the box of like toys that shows the trap that Adam and Lawrence Gordon are in. Mark Hoffman had the same thing in Saw 5. He had a box with all the little toys inside, and it showed the layers in the rooms and all that. There's the pig mask, and here's one of those paranormal things where Billy's head. Billy is looking sideways, and then Billy's looking forward. There was always some speculation as to if the puppet was actually alive or not. There's multiple hints throughout the movie that the doll is throughout the franchise that the doll is alive, but we don't talk about that. This dude who is in this chair, his name is Jeff. There was speculations that he is possibly a dentist who got a little bit too friendly with children during his job. Um, but that is neither here or there at the moment. So this first reference was the shotgun. I was watching *Malignant* with my cousin, and I was like, "This is like James Wan the movie. Everything in James Wan's career, and even influenced by his career, are like thrown in this movie between the filters of Saw 3 and cops and all this stuff, and yeah." Um, um, so interesting. This character shares the same name as the character in Saw 3 who had to go through the maze and re-find his wife at the end. So yeah, this I remember watching it, and there was a bunch of cops everywhere. And I was like, I bet you there's gonna be a shotgun. And it's gonna have a long barrel on it. And boom, I saw it when the cops had it, and I was like, oh, got you, James Wan. There's a Easter egg for the first Saw movie, that shotgun with the barrel, long barrel. So the shotgun's in here. In *Malignant*, the outfit that was used was leather, and it was black, and it had a blade that came out through the wrist, or the top of the wrist, bottom of the wrist, one of them. It was used as a weapon, and you can see how Jigsaw John uses it here. He has the same cloak. He has a similar cloak. It's the materials is different. I believe that this cloak was originally red, and the internal was black, and they like flipped it because of like the color or something like that, and they were like, "Oh, it looks better when it's flipped inside out." So the red became the inside, and the black as the outside was became like the signature. You know, Yep, and there's the blade coming out and slashing his throat. Come on, sing. Go to your partner. Um, this apparently on the website. So this guy who's running right now, you see the smoke and he's running with the shotgun. That's not that actor. That was a reshoot, and that is the director, James Wan, filling in for his character during that reshoot. So now we have that. I believe this is the real actor going down the stairs. Yes, this was the real actor. And he turns the corner, and boom, Jigsaw gets shot in the back. The little one knowing how he made it, how he lived. Probably got hit with a shrapnel or something. Who knows? But the wiki says that this is a trap that Singh gets stuck in, where the shotgun hits him from above. So apparently this is a trap. Probably the shotgun trap is what it's called. This was one of those few scenes in this franchise that I can't watch. There are just some scenes and certain deaths in these movies that I just couldn't handle, and this is one of them. Yeah, poor Singh. And then Jigsaw, the boy stands up. I mean, there are no holes in the robe, so maybe he didn't actually get hit. I don't know. Or something. I don't know. And then here's our boy Tap. No! Not sing. He just wanted to go and hang out. And then, yeah, him reaching out toward his partner. That was a sad scene. That's a sad reaction. Yeah, we have all these notes, all these. So now we go to the Detective Tap, and yeah, he's obsessed. And there's half of Billy's face shown as graffiti on the wall right there. There is a hidden symbolism in the Saw franchise. One of them being the Play Me tape, which is written in black, but for certain reasons in the later Saw movies, they're written in red, and some of them written in black, and there's a reason for that. Another hidden symbol was, the doll, but another strange hidden thing about the franchise is the I believe it's the right eye or the eye. Throughout the Saw franchise, there is a repetitive theme about eyes, and it's interesting. Jonas got hit in the eye in Saw 2, although that was an accident. The actor did, get injured, was poked in the eye, but Gus was shot in the eye. Michael had to remove his eye to get the key that was hidden behind it. The same thing happened in Scary Movie 4 when they did the parody. The Sydney, she had the Venus flytrap around her neck and had to pull her eye out to get the key to open up the Venus flytrap and everything. Um, Honestly, I could go on multiple times. I can go on, but throughout the series, there were multiple deaths and references of people getting their eyes removed or shot out or something along those lines, and it's a hidden thing there. But there are certain things about this franchise that I really would rather not go into. I just don't want that kind of attention. I don't want to talk about certain things, but Yeah, that's one of them. Okay, sorry, I'm watching the movie. And now they just found the box. They saw the X marks the spot on the paint on the wall. And now our boy Lawrence Gordon opened up the box. And there's a cell phone. I thought that was interesting to have this cell phone has a little antenna, a flip phone. Nice. One of those gonna make a comeback. Yeah, I'd love to have a flip phone again, which I don't think I've ever actually had one. No, I did. I did. It was a cool flip phone too. It was a Samsung. Do you really want to smoke something that's been in this room? Yes, I'm willing to take that risk. The cigarettes are harmless, I promise. Smoking is only poisonous when it ends in bloodshed. Think about this. You don't need a gun to kill Adam. And I love how Lawrence is like true to himself and true to I'm not about to kill this dude. But, that's what made Lawrence such an amazing character. Just such an amazing guy. Because no matter what, he never went to kill. I would love to see a reunion with these two characters. That's something that I think is really missing from the franchise is a reunion between Adam and Lawrence. Lawrence supposedly died in Saw 3, but I don't believe it. Like there's definitely that open. Oh, there's the flash showing that Adam took a picture of Lawrence, but I really don't believe that because sure, Amanda suffocated him and he hit his head against the toilet, which knocked him out. But like, she could have drug his body out and replaced the body with like Tap's body or something, and replace his clothes. Like I get it that's like a conspiracy or something, but I don't believe that Adam actually died. And I think there needs to be a reunion with Adam and Lawrence. Because what happened in that room in the first Saw movie was extremely intimate. It was a very deep personal story. And I think that bringing these two characters back together honestly would just reintroduce something into the franchise that has been missing since the first one. Here is the pig person crawling to kidnap Lawrence. Apparently, this shot was actually one, but it took too long, so they just kind of cut it. But they actually had a whole camera extended shot of the pig getting out of the car and crawling around the car and getting Lawrence. Um, this Yeah, and it's so what really makes this impactful, I think, which may kind of go against what I said, but just like it's just this whole story, man, between these two characters. It's just like, man, just wow. I would love to make a fan fiction, write a fan fiction script, like 100%. I want to, based off this movie. But when they made Spiral or the organ donor or Spiral, it was like, wait a minute, from the Book of Saw. Can you do that? There you go, Adam. Show him that picture. Apparently, these two actors were throwing stuff across the room and not doing it right. So there were actually times when they weren't throwing things hard enough and they'd get stuck in the middle of the room. So they had to reshoot. or like rethrow things. And drink my sweet tea because I'm getting tired and falling asleep. I'm always doing these commentaries late at night, very late at night. What time is this? Oh, it's 11:28, 11:30 p.m. This is actually probably one of the earliest times I've done this. It's usually like three, usually like 3 in the morning. Yeah, let me get some caffeine. Don't do it, Lawrence. Don't do it, Gordon. Yeah, it would be nice if they would make another Saw movie that was like, I don't know. You don't really want to compete with the first one. You really don't want to compete with the first movie. You know, it's just something you don't do. But it would be nice. Yeah. But yeah, I hope that in the future, we get our boys reuniting. Even if it's just like a fake flashback of, you know, before Adam died or something. He, like, Lawrence Gordon walks back in there and, Adam's like, oh snap, what are you doing? And Gordon's like, oh, I'm working for this dude now, or, I've been helped, and, I can't get you out of here right now, but just give it some time, and, we'll get you out, and we'll figure this thing out. But right now, just know that you won't be in here for too long. And then he, or something like that. I just wish that we would get something, because, the story does not feel complete until, he said he was going to come back for him. And, as boys, that means a lot, as boys. I'm not going to say as friends or homies. I'm going to say like these two were boys at this point. They were brothers in this experience. They became like blood brothers through this experience, and they need to we need to have that interaction. And Lawrence said that he was gonna go get some help and he was gonna come back, and you can't break that promise. And I can get the mentality, especially as a writer. I can get that, you know um oh, don't worry, I'll come back for you, and then dude just goes missing. But it's like, nah, bro, we need that, and he can't break a promise. Anyway, here's the electricity. Oh, that's funny. There's actually a mistake there. Right when Adam got shocked, his saw is right next to him, and it's not broken. It's actually fully intact. See, you can't be doing stuff like that, because now I'm thinking and Lawrence has his fixed saw, so he didn't throw his saw over there. So no, Adam's perfectly intact saw is right there next to him on the ground. Now here I am thinking, wait a minute, there's hope. Um, right here you see Adam walking up the stairs. There was an additional scene filmed in Saw 3 where he is actually on the stairway and he meets Amanda, and he tries to ask Amanda to go to Scott Tibbs' show. Scott Tibbs was actually has another documentary, a short film. I believe it was called The Documentary of Scott Tibbs. It was about a man who was obsessed with the Jigsaw Killer and the philosophy. And he was a rock star, and he was trying to. There's Che Guevara. There's an image of Che Guevara in there. Um. Anyway, so he was trying to show the world that Jigsaw is trying to help us out. And everyone's like, "Oh, that crazy serial killer? No, we don't want to. We're dude's crazy." So he was trying to show the world. No one would listen to him, and eventually he went to Daniel's room, hospital room, after Saw 2, the events of Saw 2, and the entire movie documentary is told from the point of view of his camera. So he gets obsessed and wants to help and wants want people to see it. So he creates a fake trap, puts himself in the fake trap, and then has his buddies or his people, his rocks people, tie him up and try to get through this trap. He's like, if I don't get out of this, then I'm going to prove that this works and that I can come out a better person for it. So he puts himself. Make sure I'm still recording. Yes. So he puts himself into a situation, into a trap, and his people tie the tape too hard, and before that shows if he made it or not, they took the camera, and he was like, "No, you're supposed to be recording this on camera. What are you people doing?" And they leave him in that room. That's the end of the document. Or well, I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil that. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. But anyway, just so anyway, there's a documentary of Scott Tibbs. Please go and watch that. Hopefully, no one's like paying attention. But sorry, with me being so tired, I'm not thinking straight. So anyway, he was promoting his concert, and he was trying to give a flyer to Amanda. Amanda's like, "Oh, I'll be there." He was like, "Oh, you will be there." So yeah, he's like, "Wait a minute, you won't be there, will you?" And Amanda's like, "Probably not. No." He's like, "Oh man." And some women go in there. He's like, "Oh, they'll be there." And Amanda's just smiling, and Adam's like, "Can I take a picture of you?" And she's like, "Yeah." So Adam takes a picture of Amanda, and then not knowing that, not knowing that, well, that was creepy. Like I didn't hear anything in this movie the last like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden I just hear like this doll laughing. This is always just what got me as a kid. This whole scene of Adam in his dark apartment, and the baseball bat, and the puppet, and the flashing camera, all of it just got me. Still to this day, still gets me. But anyway, so after Adam takes a picture of Amanda, she goes up the stairs, and that was after shortly after that, Adam goes up the stairs, not knowing that that woman he was talking to ended up being his captor. Yeah, this scene right here, taking a picture, and then the you know, Piggy's in there, Amanda's in there, kidnaps him. It's funny because they do that in the third movie, and Carrie's like, pew pew pew, let me shoot at the door. Hmm. Yeah, there's this cool cell phone, kind of like, oh, are they gonna be able to call? Or does the phone only receive calls? But yeah, hope someone's awake. I'm actually kind of glad I am watching the theatrical version. I'm not gonna lie, because I am seriously falling asleep. I have no idea where my energy just went. It just went, just shot down. I still got a little more sweet tea. Definitely not as bad as Jigsaw, though. Jigsaw was terrible. I was watching Jigsaw and I was falling asleep in the middle of it, and through so many scenes, I was forcing myself to stay awake. Just wasn't happening. Yeah, I actually still have that recording. I'm thinking about making that, releasing that recording, even though I fell asleep. I'm thinking of still just using that as my 20-year Saw anniversary. Yeah, when I did this commentary, the original commentary for this first Saw movie, I was in Ruidoso, New Mexico. I was in a hotel room, and it was actually funny because I was like, you know what, I wanna just do watch all the Saw movies and talk about them in the background and do commentary for all of these, and that'd be cool. So I did it, and now here's the two characters not trusting each other, and I really wanted to do it, so I'm like Larry. So I had my suitcase. I had all my Saw movies in there. Actually, this is the first time I took them out, and since a year ago, the first time I took them out was to do this project. A Buick, these old cars. Anyway, so a year ago, I recorded the first movie, and it was before I had my microphone. So the quality was pretty bad, but it was my first commentary. Um, yeah, it was my first commentary. So after that, I was going to do Saw 2. And what happened was, watching it, I saw each of the characters in Saw 2 represented a mentality or a mindset of survival, of a survival instinct. So I was going to do more research on how each of these characters really portrayed these different psyches of survival instinct, of survival. And I was going to write the notes down and everything. And as I was trying to get to that, I kept running into issues, and life happened, and I really never got to it. Make sure I'm still recording. Yes. So I was unable to get to it properly. So, oh, here's the Chinese lady, Chinese girl, the intern at the hospital. And so I was never able to get to it. So because I never got to the second one, I was like, maybe I can skip and go to the third one. I don't know. So I just kind of watched the commentaries, for all those Saw movies, and I was like, you know what, I can watch all the commentaries, and then I saw how certain things connected, and how this and that connected, and with so much going on in life, it was just too overwhelming. But for the most, but the main thing I was saying is because I did not thoroughly do my research on how I can explain how each character was, survival instinct in some way, because I couldn't properly say that verbally, verbalize that. I put the whole project on hold. So now we jump ahead over a year later, and here it is, October, and I was like, you know what? It's a 20-year anniversary. Why don't I try to do this again? I went ahead and went for it, and here I am on this hollow planet. So yeah, someone's calling for Dr. Gordon. They just threatened him over the phone. You better get out of there, Mark. You better get out of there, Larry. But I guess everything happens for a reason. I got a better mic. Sometimes it doesn't sound like that because I'll listen to myself, then I'll listen to myself recording, and it just sounds weird. Like it sounds mumbly, and it sounds nasally, and it sounds like certain words are slurred. And I'm like, why the heck does it sound like that when I record myself? And I'll see people. I'm like, what kind of mics do people use? And I'll look at other people with mics, other videos, and they're using the same mic as me. I'm like, why is this quality? Why does this quality sound like this? And then I realized, wait a minute, what if I just listened and didn't watch the video, and I could like tell that there was a difference in audio quality? And I was like, okay. So watching a video versus listening, you do hear a quality difference in the audio. So I was like, okay, yeah, working on it, on getting maybe a Yeti or something. I do have a big microphone, but it's too big. Right here, we show Detective Tapp giving somebody money. That person who he handed the money to was actually the director. That was the director standing in, which and just hands him the money. So he takes the money from Danny Glover, and that's it. That was the director's hand. Because can't really afford. He's a bottom feeder, just like you. I did not cheat on her. Why do you care about what I think anyway? Man, Adam was savage. Cover yourself in peanut butter. And then here's Lawrence Gordon having his breakdown. How did I get here? I had everything in order. And now here's him facing his own ego and him breaking his ego. Understanding that he has the perfect life and everything is great. And he's like taking it for granted because everything's just as he wants it to be. I really do feel bad, but there may be like 4 minutes of quiet because I need to go get some more tea. And the rules is that I can't pause the movie, you can't stop it in any way. Oh, there's Allison talking to her daughter. Oh wait, Adam sees something. What is he? Oh yeah, this is when he finds out it's Zip. Alright, so I'm gonna be back. So you are gonna hear some silence for a few minutes. I do apologize. I will be back. Dr. Zepp. Alright, I have returned. So I remember in the scene, the actress who played Allison, or Diana, I don't know what. I think Allison is the wife. She had some issues here because when she had the gun, I believe the director was talking with her, and um, there was a bit of a conversation on whether or not. Oh, I love this part. Zap, is that you, Allie? Or Holly? Yeah, there was a bit of an issue here with whether or not she would actually pull the trigger or shoot him. And yeah, they had their discussion. And I believe she said that she would shoot him. The doctor was like, no, it's not that easy to murder somebody or just kill someone, you know? She's like, this is random dude. He's holding my daughter hostage. He's holding me hostage. He's a danger. I'm gonna shoot him. Especially in the heat of the moment. Have to drink this tea as much as I can because it goes bad. Cherish your life. Let's talk a little bit about cherishing your life. This series is really much about it. Let's talk about cherishing your life and this idea of really pursuing what makes you happy, really pursuing what makes you feel good. It is important to live a life where you're satisfied with your own existence, that you're satisfied with what you do every day, who you are, and every action that you do. It's important to understand that you are in control of your life and you are master of your own life, and you need to do what you can to make yourself happy. Don't feel stuck in the situation, don't feel stuck in a moment, don't feel so powerless. You know, you're not powerless. Well, you know, sometimes things have to be left. A sacrifice usually has to be made, and yeah, sometimes it's just what you got to do to move on to something better. Life is just too short to stay idle, to stay where you're at. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to be better, you know. Life can be a truly amazing thing, and you know, when I do these recordings and I try to help as much as I can, you know, as a writer, I have a certain outlook on life, and a certain way of looking at it. There was a story that I did write, and it was about, you know, trying to rediscover the best in ourselves and people, and you know, in one of these books that I wrote, and there's Lawrence being shocked, and you know, in one of those stories, it was really like this huge journey of how to help these two cars that are driving right now. I believe they're actually inside the studio. They're on cinder blocks, and you have the crew shaking the cars on the cinder blocks to make it look like they're driving forward when really they're not. They're just parked up on blocks and having the car shake. Shaking the cars to make it look like they're moving. Anyway, in the story that I wrote, you know, it was like these characters were like, you know, discovering something great for themselves, discovering life and what it all meant and everything. They're just rediscovering it. At one point, there was someone who was like, "What if the idea of trying to heal is wrong versus healing versus being healed?" It stemmed from this idea of there's this the hallway. It stems from this idea of what is the human experience actually when we're not fed so much stuff. There was a lot of messages everywhere about, oh, how to know if your spouse is cheating, how to know if your boyfriend is cheating, if your girlfriend is cheating. There was a bunch of stuff like that, and there was some stuff where some people were like, "Oh, all you're doing is just looking out for yourself. This person's selfish because all they're doing is thinking about themselves and their own happiness." And then it's like, are you gonna look out for their happiness? It doesn't matter if you have a parent, it doesn't matter if you have a partner, it doesn't matter if you have, a mentor or something. Their job is not really to make you happy, it's yours. And in the society where people get to that realization that they want to be at peace, that they want to be happy, for some odd reason, everyone in society looks down at that and they see it as a terrible thing. They're like, you're selfish. All you do is think about yourself and you're a terrible person for that. But it's like, dog, you're not looking out for their best interests. You're not looking out for their peace. They have to somehow figure out how to do that and figure out that they're worthy enough to do that. My point being, and with someone I love close to me passing away and dying, it seemed weird to look around at life and see how certain experiences that we go through, and I'm talking through the foot being cut off, the iconic scene. Um, with me losing somebody and everything, it just seems like a lot of the way that we look at life, the way we respond to life, how we feel about it, it seems programmed. It seems like we don't know how to be human anymore. It's weird talking to different people from different walks of life and hearing them have the same reactions to certain situations. I'm just like, wait a minute, where does that come from? Why do we why do these humans why do we look at life in such a similar way? But sometimes it doesn't make sense because it's like, are we actually told to have these reactions to life? Are we told to look at life in such a way? And life can really evolve and be something completely different that we can't possibly fathom, we can't possibly understand. But once we actually learn to start thinking for ourselves, no matter what messed up situation that we're in, like Lawrence Gordon right now, no matter what kind of messed up situation it is, how do we keep a bigger truth to ourselves? How do we, how would life evolve around? How would life really evolve around how we evolve as individual people after we find the truth of ourselves, the truth of who we are, and the truth of how we want to live life. And here's Lawrence Gordon having his mental breakdown. Despite him being at his lowest, he shot Lawrence, he shot Adam in a non-fatal spot. Some useless knowledge his clothes that he's wearing, that Lawrence is wearing, they were old clothes. He came to work every day, filmed all day in these clothes, and I think the last day or the last 2 days, he was finally given a new shirt that didn't smell sweaty and gross. If you actually listen closely to the music in this movie, you'll hear how it evolves. It actually evolves with the insanity of the movie. And yeah. Mhm. And there's Adam punching out Zep, and now killing Zep. And now yeah, things just went crazy. And now this is the first time these two characters are in frame. The first time these two characters touch. The first time that these two characters are in the state of revelation and their foreheads are touching, sort of like they're, them being birthed together and them being bonded, them being universally bonded. This was really, again, intimacy is a very deep message and thing about this movie. He said, "I'll bring somebody back. I promise." Would I lie to you? Oh, he said, "I wouldn't lie to you." I don't like that look that Lawrence gives him when he crawls away. That smile. Like, I wouldn't lie to you, or would I lie to you? I don't think it's fair that Adam went through what he went through. This was all one shot of Adam going through the wallet, throwing the wallet, searching, looking for the key. This was all one long, extended shot. This actually was one shot up until the end of the movie. Um, Something happened and it was like chopped, but apparently up to this point on, originally, it was one camera the whole time being shot. Or what they called you, Zep. Ding, ding, ding. I remember this scene when I saw, and then you see Zep coughing, but it was never like in the movie that I saw. So it might have been a bit of a mistake, an accident. So right now you're seeing all these flashbacks throughout the movie, but if you can see, if you look carefully, the camera is not off of Adam. It's actually doing like a little 360 or whatever. It's going, the camera's going around Adam's actor, and the and those flashbacks are inserts. So right here, watching this moment when John stands up, yeah, and he peels off the little fake brain matter or whatever. This scene right here, iconic scene, and this shock, this surprise, this scene is ultimately why Tobin Bell wanted to do this movie and agreed to do it. Tobin Bell wanted to also stand up and know what it liked. Yeah, he said the key to the chain is in the bathtub. Wow. So but yeah, yeah, Tubman Bell wanted to lay down on the floor. He wanted to do it himself. They agreed to do like a little fake dummy, but he was like, "No, I'll do it because when I get up at the end, I want to know, I want that moment to be iconic, and I want to know what it really feels like to be stiff for that long, and eventually standing up, and what that meant. He wanted to pull it off." There is a shot of, I believe, Tobin Bell and Lee Winnell and Zepp's character, the three of them right after here, taking a shot. They took a camera shot, and that picture is in Echo, I believe, Echo Theater, I believe, one of those famous theaters. That picture is still there after all these years, 20 years later. That scene right there when he said "game over." I remember when I was in the movie theater watching this 28-year anniversary. When as soon as Tobin Bell got up, I was gonna yell, be like, "What?" and throw my popcorn all over the place in front of the crowd and everything. But when I thought about doing it, the scene was happening, and I was like listening to other people around to see if there were first timers. And by the time I thought about it for so long, that the scene already ended, and I was like, "Oh, I missed my opportunity." Dina Meyer, she was, I believe she was Carrie. Um, that scene when he turned the light off. Oh wow, David Armstrong, been around since the first one. I know he's been on every day of shooting. Kevin Gruder, he's the editor. He was the director in 5 and 6, I believe, or no, 6 and 10, 6, 7, and 10. Yeah, Darren Belsman didn't show up until the second one. He had a different movie written, and then he and Lee Winnell came together to write the second one. But yeah, that scene, I remember that scene when Tobin got up, how my reaction, man, man, I was like, what? That shock that I had in my system, it was like no other. And then he got up and did his thing, and when he turned the light off and left him in there, I was like, whoa, what? And then he leaves him in the dark. He just closes the door and leaves him in there. That was one of the most disturbing things ever. And for me, being what me being 10 years old, I believe I was 9 or 10 years old at the time. Yes, 10, 10, yeah, 10 or 11, yeah. So when I watched that as a 10-year-old, I was like, whoa, this was disturbing. My step siblings, my step siblings went to Blockbuster across the street and they rented this horror movie. Um, my stepdad and step siblings, and they watched Saw, and I was there, so I sat down and I watched it with them. And I didn't want to watch a scary movie, but I did, and they got me into most scary movies like Evil Dead, which was weird because Evil Dead is what inspired this movie, and that was like one of my first horror movies was Evil Dead, and Saw was the second one I was introduced to. But anyway, so I remember watching it then, and um, I was scared the whole time, and then I watched the ending, and I saw the ending, and I was like, oh my god. And the ending disturbed me so much that it stuck with me, and it stuck with me hardcore. And I think it what started my addiction to the franchise. So I was hooked on Saw ever since. Thank you so much for joining me for all 10 movies. And you guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching movies with love and Saw. And you guys have a great day. Have a great night.